The Norse Vikings were a people from the northern wintry lands of Scandinavia who terrorized Europe from the late 700s to 1066 AD. These fearsome warriors plundered valuables and captured slaves, and they believed in unfamiliar pagan gods, which made them even more terrifying to their victims. However, the Vikings were also accomplished traders. They established many towns and city settlements, and thus they left their mark on Europe, Russia, the Mediterranean, and even North America. Limited opportunities in Scandinavia at this time meant adventurous Vikings set out from the North Sea in search of riches and power on foreign soil. The Vikings were expert sailors, navigators, and skilled shipbuilders. Their flat-bottomed longships allowed them to sail upon coastal waters and even up shallow river systems. One land the Vikings were particularly fond of was the island of Ireland, home at the time to the Gaelic Irish. When the Vikings sailed by, this island nation was littered with affluent monastic settlements, famed for their production of beautiful religious manuscripts and Christian gold. Ireland at the time was dominated by warring Gaelic kingdoms. These Gaels didn't owe their loyalty to the nation of Ireland. Instead, their loyalty lay with their clan, or Tua. This lack of unity was a vulnerability that the Vikings would easily and happily exploit. Beginning in 795 AD, the Norse raided the Irish coast sporadically for several decades. The almost defenseless monasteries were easy targets from which they stole treasure and kidnapped slaves to trade back home. But soon, these pagan invaders changed tactics. Taking advantage of the lack of a centralized power in Ireland, the Norse built markets and founded their own settlements at Dublin, Waterford, Cork, Wexford, and Limerick, all of which retain their original Viking names. These would be the first towns and cities in Ireland. Strategically located at the mouths of major rivers, these settlements were used as a base to project Norse power inland. The Viking settlements operated as independent kingdoms, and, like their Gaelic Irish neighbours, they were also prone to fighting with each other. Dublin dominated these clashes and established itself as a centre of slave trading and one of the most important cities in Europe. As time passed, the Vikings began to settle, mingle, and intermarry with the Gaelic Irish. Rather than make anything secure, these Norse-Irish marriages added another layer to the political instability of the island. One man who arose from the power struggles to eclipse all others was the Gaelic chieftain Brian Boru, the King of Munster. Eventually, through war and marriage, Brian attained the high kingship of Ireland, and he was given the title of Emperor of the Irish. Never before had this title been used for an Irish high king, and after his death, it would never be used again. No one could unite warring tribes like Brian Boru. But even this brilliant warrior and politician could not bring lasting peace and stability to Ireland, and soon a war broke out again. The Battle of Clontarf of 1044 AD was the tipping point in this Gaelic and Nordic conflict. While Brian's forces won the battle, Brian himself lost his life. Unfortunately, Brian's son and heir could not fill his father's boots. Ireland lost a great leader, and it became a divided place once more. The descendants of Brian Boru moved their Munster capital from Cashel to Limerick, housing their palace on the modern-day site of St. Mary's Cathedral. The last king of Munster, Donal Mór O'Brien, donated his palace to the church. The western doors of the cathedral, which still stand to this day, are believed to be the original doors from Donal's great palace.